All right, hi you guys. Happy Thursday. Today's lesson we're going to be talking about is going to be all about greatest common factors. So go ahead, get out either your pencils or if you like to use some colors, get those out. So we are writing greatest, so greatest common. So what they have in common, and then factors, kind of like numbers, factors. And the abbreviation for this would be GCF. So on tests sometimes they may say instead of greatest common factors, GCF. I know especially if you guys go into business school, they don't spell it out as greatest common factors. They'll just use the acronym GCF. So let's take a look at what that means. So I have two numbers here. I have 32 and I have 48. So what I'm basically going to do is think, what numbers can I divide into these numbers to make them kind of like divide into it, is all I should probably say. So let's do 1 could fit into 32 times. 2 can divide into 32. Um, sorry, 1, 6, 16. Thank you. All right, 4 can go into 32. 8 can go into 32. So it's almost like 16 can go into 32. You're kind of finding the multiples of 32. And then 32, of course, can go into 32. Now, if I look at 48, 1 can go into 48. 2 can go into 48 24 times. 3 can go into 48. 3 with 16, so 16 times. 4 can go into it, 12 times. 6 can go into it. 8 can go into it. 12 can go into it. 16 could go into it. 24 could go into it. I could keep going and going. But right here, I'm finding the biggest number that can fit into both 32 and 48. Do you see it? So first look up here and then look down here. Think to yourself, what number do you see? And I'll put little dots in between because it's starting to look like a bunch of numbers. So which number can fit both into 32 and fit into 48? So you see it, 16 and 16. So for the fraction 32 over 48, the GCF for that would be 16. So what you would do, here's your fraction, so go ahead and write it down. 32 over 48. And I'm going to need to find a number, which we already did, to divide into both to find the new simplified, remember that from Tuesday's lesson? The simplified way to write the new fraction. So I'm making it less. So 32 divided by 16 and 48 divided by 16. So 16 goes into 32 2 times. And 48 divided by 16. So 16 goes into 42 3 times. So now I can find that I can simplify the big fraction 32 divided by 40, or 32 over 48. I can simplify it into the new fraction 2/3. So yours will not be, this is like a 5th grade, 6th grade anchor chart, but I just think it's sometimes valuable because a lot of you are higher level. Even though the work today may be simple, you can still hear about the harder works. Kind of like sometimes I'll do a harder YouTube video, which is good. So today's homework will not be that high level, although I think sometimes it's important to see it. I don't want to overdo it, but sometimes it's good to overdo. You do have a word or a fraction problem that looks like this. So basically, you're going to keep the denominator. It's like on Tuesday, if you guys have your anchor charts from Tuesday, this helps out a lot. Keep add them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. So 5. I added them up. Step 2, keep the denominator. And then can I simplify it? Well, yeah, I actually can. Because anytime the numerator and the denominator are the same, we always change it into one whole. So you could actually simplify it just by putting one whole. All right, and then the next one that I'll show you for today's example, which is on your homework, would look like this. 1/10 plus 5/10, and I think most of them are being simplified today. So I think that's what we're focusing in on. Yesterday or Tuesdays was fairly simple of just add them up and maybe 1 or 2 will be simplified. These, most of them will. So you're going to look at the 6 and the 10 and you're going to think what number the greatest common factor. So what's the biggest number that I can use to divide into 6 and 5? So we could say, let's see, not 1, of course, 2. They both can use 2. 2, 3, 5. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. 6, no. So it looks like, and once I get to like 6, I can't go bigger than 6 because nothing bigger than 6, like 7, that'd be silly. So you're just going to try to figure out what the biggest number would be. And if you need to write it out, I mean, you can always do 6 and 10, almost like what we did up here, this area. So you could say, okay, 1, what number is 2, 3, and 6? And then this one, 1, 2, 3 doesn't fit into it. 1, 2, 3, 5 can go into it. 6 can't go into it. 7, 8, 9. So I'm just trying to figure out like 1 divided by 10 equals 10. 2 into 10, 2 times 5 equals 10. 5 times 2 equals 10. So it's numbers that can be multiplied to create this, or can be divided into it. 1 can go into 6 times, 2 can go into 6 3 times, 3 can go into 6 2 times, 6 can go into 6 1 time. So I have to look at these numbers. I'll put the little dots so we don't get too confused on the numbers. What number do you see on both those lines? What number do you see on both those lines? 2. Good. So 2 is what we're going to use for this. So we'd say divided by 2, divided by 2. And now we have our new answer. So 10 goes into, or 10 divided by 2, equals 5. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So we can simplify 6/10, simplify it into 3/5. Okay? So take some time, look over your anchor chart one more time, go nice and slow today on the homework, and then just make sure you are ready for tomorrow's quiz. Remember, I'm taking the top 3 quiz tests. So if you continue to get those 100%, that's what I'm looking for. So if you have not gotten 300% on your math quizzes, that's your goal. All right. Bye, you guys.